world was not always the way it is today. The sun still rose in the sky, but the warmth it carried was weak. Large parts of the land were buried under thick layers of ice. Mountains stood silent and white. Plains were hard and frozen, and the wind moved across the earth like a living thing, sharp and unforgiving. This was a time people would later call the Ice Age. But for those who lived within it, it was simply life. At the foot of a rocky slope, where the wind was less cruel, there was a cave. It was not large, but it was deep enough to offer protection. Inside this cave lived a small family. A father, tall and quiet, whose eyes were always searching the land. A mother, strong and careful, who held the family together through patience and skill. 2 children, silent and observant, growing faster than children should. And an old grandmother, whose words were few, but whose memory carried the past. In the center of the cave, a small fire burned. Its light danced on the stone walls, and its warmth pushed back the cold just enough. That fire was more than heat. It was safety. It was hope. It was the reason the family was still alive. Morning did not begin with comfort. The cold was always present, even when the sun appeared. The father was usually the first to wake. He would look at the fire, making sure it still lived, then step outside into the frozen air. He studied the ground carefully, searching for tracks in the snow. A single mark could mean food. A day without tracks could mean hunger. Often the wind erased everything. Nature showed no kindness, only rules. The father knew this well. Hunting was dangerous, and it was never done alone. Mammoths were enormous and powerful. Woolly rhinoceroses could kill with one charge. Deer were quick and alert, disappearing at the first sound. Many days the father returned with nothing. On those days, the family ate less and waited more. Patience was as important as strength. While the father faced the land, the mother faced the details of survival. Inside the cave, she worked with animal skins, cleaning them, drying them, shaping them into clothing. In this frozen world, clothing was not decoration. It was protection. A single tear could allow the cold to enter, and the cold never forgave mistakes. The mother also knew the plants that grew when the land softened. Roots, leaves, and seeds. Some healed, some poisoned. Her knowledge kept the family alive as much as any hunt. The children learned quietly. There was little room for play, as it is known today. Even games were lessons. How to shape stone with another stone. How to walk without sound. How to wait without complaining. Running was dangerous. Shouting was forbidden. Silence was a skill learned early. Each child understood without being told that one day they would be responsible for survival, too. The grandmother watched everything. She spoke rarely, but when she did, everyone listened. She remembered winters worse than this one, storms that lasted longer, hunger that went deeper. She knew that fear passed, but panic killed. She could read the world in ways the others could not. By the smell of the air, the heaviness of the sky, the way the wind changed before a storm. Her memory was the family's most valuable possession. Winter was the greatest enemy. It arrived slowly, then stayed far too long. The sun barely rose, and animals disappeared. During these months, the family moved deeper into the cave. They stayed close to the fire and closer to each other. Movements became slower. Words became fewer. Energy was saved whenever possible. Sometimes the best choice was to do nothing at all. On stormy nights, the wind howled at the cave's entrance and snow seemed to fall from every direction at once. The family sat together, sharing warmth. No one screamed. Fear was silent. In that silence they waited, trusting that the storm would pass, as others had before. The fire was always watched. Embers were covered with ash to keep them alive through the night. Each morning, the flame was carefully brought back. Starting a fire was difficult, but keeping it alive was even harder. Where there was fire, there was life. Without it, there was nothing. Then slowly, the world changed. The ice began to crack. The ground softened. New tracks appeared in the mud. Birds returned, and animals moved once more across the land. The family stepped outside again, feeling the familiar cycle begin anew. This pattern of cold and warmth, hunger and hope, had shaped generations before them and would continue long after. They did not know the future. They did not know cities, machines, or the warmth of modern homes. But they knew something far more important. If they stayed together, listened to the land, and remained patient, they would survive. Even now, thousands of years later, something of them remains inside us. Our comfort near fire, our unease in deep cold, our sense of peace in silence. These are quiet gifts from a distant past. As this story settles in your mind, imagine the cave again. The soft glow of firelight, the distant sound of wind outside. In that ancient frozen world, the family is safe for now. And in that quiet, you can allow your thoughts to slow, your body to relax, and gently drift into sleep.